Oh my God. Are you done now?
I don't think so. Hold on. I can't find it.
Okay, weather report for December 3rd, 2021. Did you find it, Scott? I can unmute you now. Jesus. I can't unmute them. Can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. What a piece of shit. There it is.
One thing, Speed. You might want to turn down the volume on the second intro a bit. It's going to blow people's ears off if they're wearing headphones.
Really?
Compared to the first one. Compared to the first one, you have to level those out a little.
Okay. I suppose I can redo it if I...
this happens to be National Ear Doctors Recognition Day, and we thought maybe everybody could go see their ear doctors next available chance. A lot of Sam's Clubs will have ear tests in the Sam's Club, so on Saturday even. So there you go.
Oh. It's fitting because we got a doctor in the side chat. Not sure if that's an ear doctor, but
Dr. Osiris.
Yeah. Yep. So we got nothing today but shooting it in the head. So does anyone have anything? Well, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on, but I haven't followed any of it. Has anyone else?
Well, I just noticed some comments in the side chat while we were talking backstage, and who said what on Twitter today that was inappropriate? Apparently somebody said something today on Twitter that was inappropriate. So
on Twitter?
Yeah. So
oh my God, are they going to shut Twitter down then?
Maybe. I mean, if you say something inappropriate, maybe.
What did they say?
What did they
I don't
say?
know. It was just inappropriate is all I know.
I only saw one thing on Twitter, and I'm still
you're still low gaga about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every day that your favorite goddess starts interacting with you, both on Twitter and in email.
Wow, I didn't know you were a fanboy of anybody.
Yeah,
a certified worshiper. Apparently, it was Richard Dawkins said something stupid.
Oh, again?
On Twitter today.
So, yeah, he was a bit transphobic a few days ago when he asked people to sign some kind of protest.
Richard Dawkins?
Yeah.
What is this problem?
Yeah, he's pushing a thing where people can sign that trans women aren't really women, and they're invading on women's rights. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my God, he loses Humanist of the Year title over.
Is this the second time he's lost Humanist of the Year?
Yeah.
Are you looking at data material? He lost it once before, didn't he?
Yeah, this article's 7 months old. So anyway, he's done this before. So he did something else. He did something else again today.
You would think his handlers would, or his publicists would take the Twitters away from him somehow.
Yeah. Well, he probably don't care.
Up until now, you still could make some excuses that you've got an old guy who doesn't actually know how to work his way in a tweet, because he's a writer and he usually needs more words, so he's not really that well versed in putting something in just a few characters. But now it's just blatantly obvious. I mean, the thing that he retweeted, that was vile. As if women's rights are invaded by trans women. Where the fuck do these people get their information from? I said nothing could ruin my mood, and there it is.
Hey, pull up that Sue Ann Brown page to help Peter.
I can give Speed a link if he wants to. Okay, hold on.
Oh, I think Speed must be in one of his new software traps.
Would that? So hold on. If Speed's in a trap, would that be a speed trap?
It's a speed trap. Yeah, it was probably set by the software vendors just for Speed.
There, Speed. You can choose whether or not you want to show it. First one is the video. Second one is the tweet.
And Speed, if you can hear us, if you're talking to us, we cannot hear you at all.
Yeah.
You changed a button. You clicked on something. You clicked a link. You flipped a button.
How about now?
I can hear you now.
He's back. He's back.
Wow. If I click that button, my song goes away. Holy shit. I have too many fucking buttons right now.
Put some tape over it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's a little bit ironic that your name is Speed of Sound.
Yeah. Well,
it just sounds like that Richard Dawkins just may be an actual transphobe. I mean,
yeah,
unabashed.
Well, the thing is Dawkins, like his genetic stuff, his books are irrelevant. I mean, he's really behind. He's way behind on shit, and he's kind of like been going off the deep end for the last 20 years. And how old is he? Is he like in his 80s?
I think so. He might be in his 80s now. Yeah.
So what is his thing about trans people? Is he like has some theory about it or something, or what the fuck is he doing?
No. Let me find it. Hold on. Now he's got me working.
Yeah, what the hell? Okay, I'll play your trailer before while you're working. How about that?
But then you have to show the tweet first, because otherwise people will have no clue what this is about.
Okay then.
I still think the tweet's a lot more important than the video, but
we'll show the tweet.
That's not the tweet.
I got 2 copies of that. Is that the tweet?
That's the tweet.
Except I gotta make it smaller. How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to tell people what this is about?
Yeah, I made a thing called Hathor Hosts Intro Example, just in case she did 2 seasons of and she did a show called Hathor Hosts, where she would interview people, most of which were actors from the several series of Stargate, but she had other people there as well. And I loved watching that, not only because I'm a Stargate fan, but he was pretty funny in those interviews as well. Pretty good interviews. And so I thought her intro could be a little bit better, so I made something and then emailed her. And then I think a day after I emailed, or even the same day, her father passed away, so she left the UK for South Africa. Spend time with her family and take care of the funeral and things. And she got back, I think, a couple of days ago, and started going through her email. And then today she tweeted this, and I hadn't checked my email yet, but she also sent me an email where, well, she has a production company, but she might contact me for some artwork if they do decide to make a third season, which I thought was pretty cool because that was actually what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
So I made a kind of a trailer for the third season.
Oh, let me fix that up. Okay, I'll play it. Cool.
Should I have warned you that you're now going to have a strike? Well, not a strike, a claim.
Why?
Because of the music.
Oh shit!
It's not going to inflict anything weird on your channel. That's not going to be a problem. But you will not be able to monetize this video.
Yep. I don't really care anymore. I quit caring.
You quit caring?
I quit caring a lot. Yeah. I pretty much quit caring this week. I'm sort of in flux right now.
In flux?
Influx. Maybe influx or influx. I'm not sure yet.
Influx.
It's kind of like the flux. Boy, say that really fast 10 times.
It sounds like you've blown your flux capacitor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been kind of busy with some other shit. So
because I just got the feeling you don't know what you're saying.
What the flux? I feel bad about swearing so much when Rebecca was on the other day, but I just lost it with you guys. I mean, like if you give me Immutable and Leo at the same time, and then throw in a little Peter, and I just.
Hold on. Phrasing. I mean, please.
I know it wasn't, okay.
Oh, no, phrasing. Throw in a little Peter. That sounds, yeah.
Okay. I guess I don't know what the flux I'm saying. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, go. All right.
Is that okay? Are we going to regret it?
You probably will regret it.
Hey, Jason, I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you been getting my emails?
I occasionally get your emails, which I guess I get some of your notifications from StreamYard.
Yeah, but I emailed you a couple days ago, and you never responded to about 3 or 4 emails, and I'm just wondering if you don't see them, or you're confused by the speed of sound of gravity account or whatever I'm sending them from.
Yeah, Jesse, you need to read them because I've been really getting tired of consoling Speed and getting him to stop crying because he hasn't heard back from you.
Yeah.
Speed, I would tell you that there's a possibility to get in touch with Jason on Discord, but apparently that also doesn't work.
That is I will never share that piece of shit.
We literally agreed on 2 days.
Oh, so
I'm going to mock you. I'm going to mock you, silly Jason, about this.
Hey man, I knew you were gonna rail on me, Peter. So I was totally ready for that thrashing.
It's not a problem.
I think I do have some emails from you, Speed. One of which you were talking about us chatting one-on-one over the weekend or something like that.
Yes,
is that
that one. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to input
I
on some stuff. So, I okay. So you are getting them. So I'm not throwing them into the void.
No, and I am totally fine with setting something up. It's sometimes I go like several days where like I can't really focus on anything but what I'm just doing on my own. Like I could barely keep myself above water with some of the stuff I'm doing. So, anyways, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Well, just for clarity, my offer stands, Jason. If it's going to be next year, it still stands, because I still think you should do more on your channel.
Yeah, like well, we don't have to go into all the details. Like obviously, I'm like the classic. Like I want to spend as little as I possibly can, little time I possibly can, and have the most value out of whatever content that I do generate. You know what I mean? Like I want
that I can help you with. No problem.
Okay. So what do we got?
I don't know. Didn't you have a video that you played earlier?
Yeah, I got a video. I got a couple of videos. I could show a video if I don't know. Do I really want to? There was this one, which was interesting. Let's see. Let me size that up a little.
Oh, scientific. Well, Baraminology.
So Professor Neal Doran, Ph.D.
Right.
This is Jonathan Guzman. Does everybody know who he is?
I had Jonathan on my channel. Actually, when you have a talk with him, a one-on-one talk, he's a pretty nice guy to talk to.
He is.
He's also so he wants to study paleontology, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so he can hoping the field.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that it's going to be the other way around, that the field's going to overturn him.
Yeah, I think that might happen because he's a pretty smart kid. He's pretty smart.
Yeah, he definitely is a smart kid.
But now this Professor Neal Doran is not a kid anymore, and he's been doing paleontology. He's a geologist by training, and he went to school at something called the Bryan College, which is right here, and which you can't see the whole thing, but it's a Christian liberal arts college in Dayton. It was founded in the aftermath of the 1925. Well, he teaches at this college. He actually got his degree from Florida.
It was founded in the aftermath of the Scopes trial to establish an institution of higher education that would teach from a Christian worldview.
Yep.
That's an oxymoron right there.
Yeah. Anyway. So Jonathan had this question, which I thought was curious.
I heard Kurt Wise explain it like this. I heard Kurt Wise on a talk he gave on the Is Genesis History's Compass Classroom, I believe it's called. And he says that he defines a kind as a group of animals with significant continuity separated by other groups of animals with a gulf of discontinuity, significant discontinuity. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did, and that's a good definition. And the definition Dr. Wise gave is a little more mathematical in its tone.
Okay.
Mine was a little more biological in its tone, but they're both saying the same thing. And
yeah. Anyway, So I was thinking about this, and like, okay, so a kind is a group of animals that have some common features, like dogs, and foxes and wolves, and then contrasted by another group of animals like kitties and tigers and lions, which have different features. But then now, if you take those two kinds of animals and you put them together and you separate them from another kind of animal called an elephant, right? I mean, what the fuck are they thinking? I mean, you can do that all the way down the tree of life. It's called phylogeny, but they don't do it that way. They come full stop at a kind. The dog kind.
What they don't realize is that you can put a lot of fancy words in a sentence, but if basically what you're saying is if it looks the same, it probably is the same, you might be wrong.
Wait a minute. Can one of you guys just steel man the argument? Like, what's the best argument that this guy has for this position? What's the best argument?
That I can't. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, fine. You can say that about dogs, right? Dogs, wolves, and foxes, right? You could find commonality, and then contrast that with cats, right? Which, how are cats different than dogs?
So, I mean, are they saying that we find this continuous aspects amongst like these kinds or whatever you want to call them, but then there are these divisions between those things,
right?
And that's kind of what they're saying is that they're these really proximal relationships, but then there are these really there's no clear connection between those. I don't know, whatever. I mean, I'm just trying to if I was from what I'm hearing this guy talk about, it sounds like that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure it out because okay, if you have the cat kind and you have the dog kind and you have the bear kind, right? There's three kinds. Okay, so we got cats, bears, and okay. So look at bears and raccoons. I don't know if baraminologists put raccoons in the same kind, but raccoons are more related to bears than they are dogs. So anyway, but what is the difference between a cat kind and a dog kind?
Looks.
They have whiskers, longer whiskers.
It's just looks. If it looks like a cat, it's in the cat kind. I've had this conversation with several theists, and the moment you ask them where the hyena comes in, they put it in the dog kind.
They put the hyena,
which is wrong.
Hyena.
Okay,
because the hyena is in the cat kind.
Okay, but what makes a cat look like a cat and a dog look like a dog? That makes
we know
different.
That cats don't laugh and hyenas do, so that can't be right.
Well, dogs don't normally laugh. My Saint Bernard kind of did, but he tried.
Scott, hyenas are the cats that laugh about the things that the other cats do, like pushing everything off your table.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Jason, can you put your finger on what's different between the cat kind and the dog kind?
Well, as you were talking about all that, I was thinking around this topic of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I kept thinking about this issue of why we come to these conclusions. Like when somebody's like, okay, you're coming to the conclusion that evolutionary theory is the best explained theory for the origins of life, however you want to frame it. And they're like, well, I'm going to pick out a few things and look at those things and deduce whether I think that supports that or not. I make an argument against it. But when we look at the totality of all that evidence, it paints a really, really clear picture. And so I guess, I don't know, as you were talking about this, I just kept thinking about like when they talk about like these things are all happening separately, to support this position that they couldn't possibly have been these connections. When we look at the totality of evidence, it doesn't really support that whatsoever. I mean, I don't know, man. That doesn't really fit with what you're talking about specifically. I don't think with the dog and the cat, but I mean, it just makes me think about the totality of these theories and how people come to conclusions of whether a theory is valid or not. I don't know.
So the most popular argument that I've come across is that they think that there is a limit to what evolution can do. So the change in allele frequencies, they will accept that because they see that there is adaptation. Somehow there's a boundary in genetics where it will stop mutating further away at some point. But there's no creationist who can actually come up with a mechanism that they've thought out how this is supposed to work. Because if small incremental changes can still happen, then and you can try and explain that if I can do one step and I can do that several times after that, at some point I can walk a mile and I can walk further than a mile and I can just keep walking. There's no limitation, obviously, until I die, but there's no limitation in how far you can walk. There's no boundary where it says, okay, you can walk to here and that's the end. That after that you can't take another step. And it's mind-boggling how the disconnect is where they think that at some point these changes stop happening, even though they observe those changes, because we do observe small changes in a human's lifetime.
But what I'm struggling with here is, okay, look at this thing, right? This lion. Now, if you had never heard that lions and cats were the same thing, right? That are the same kind, would you look at this thing and would you think that kind of looks like a dog? Or would you think it looks like a cat? I mean, that doesn't look anything like my cat.
Meow.
Well, see, but here's the thing.
But okay,
now you put up pictures of male lions. What if you pick a picture of a female lion that doesn't have the manes?
They must.
And then you can see that they're both the same. And
okay,
look at the kitten. That's a kitten.
Yeah,
that is a kitten.
That doesn't look like a dog.
Okay, but why does it look like a cat? It's because of the shape of the mouth, right? Because the mouth is sort of like
the skull, the shape of the skull, and then
shape of the skull, shape of the ears, overall shape of the body, the mannerisms when they walk. I mean,
wait, is that what Guzman looks like?
Yeah. Okay, that's an aside. My point is this. Now, if you take the cat and the dog kind, right, and you compare them, you say, okay, they're two kinds. But now take the cat and dog kind together and now compare with an elephant or giraffe. And it just seems to me that the cat and dog kind are going to pretty much fall together more heavily than the giraffe and the elephant. So
because they're both carnivores.
What are they doing? So I mean,
and both the dog and the cat kind have a common ancestor.
Aren't you just kind of naturally making an evaluation on their proximity on the whatever phylogenetic tree that they're on? You're just
right.
Wow, these things are just in close proximity on that tree, so naturally they have they have more commonality than something that is further away.
Yeah, but they don't believe in that tree, Jason.
I understand.
No.
I do have a question for Jason. It has nothing to do with topic.
I understand, but this goes back to what I was thinking about, like these answering all these questions, like that, like we talked about this before, Speedo, like why theories get formulated, and it's not just it's because people have constructed these hypotheses, complicated hypotheses, and have tested them, and all those hypotheses all support the ideas around that overall theory. So it's like, this is like just one of many of these hypotheses that are getting evaluated that are then constructing that entire theory. I think that is a more interesting like question around those topics.
Right. So
anyway,
if you were to steelman their theory, the creator, first of all, decided, okay, I'm going to have this, I'm going to create a giraffe, and then I'm going to create an elephant. And those are very unique, very, very unique. But then I'm going to create this whole group of things, group of kinds, the cat kind, the bear kind, and the dog kind. And they're going to be kind of like each other because I'm thinking about this particular carnivore kind. And I want to, but I don't want to just create one kind. I want to create 3 of them. So now I've got 5 kinds. You have to elephant, a giraffe, and I've got a bear and a...
What about the midnight kind?
Well, you have to take in considering the bottleneck of the Ark, the Noah's Ark thing. There's only so many that can be existing if it happened. I mean, in this sense, we're already talking about the fictional God thing. So,
yeah, the problem is, Top Dog. The problem is that they reject the whole bottleneck thing, and they have to because that would disprove not only Noah's Ark, but it would disprove the creation story, because we can check for genetic
Noah's Ark being in the bottleneck.
We can check for a bottleneck. We can check for a bottleneck that happened 10,000 years ago. We can see that in cheetahs. We do not see that in any other animal. And if there would be 4,300 years ago would have been Noah's Ark, we would see that bottleneck in every living species on the planet. And that is not there. But so they have to reject that because that would automatically invalidate their magic book.
But I guess what I'm saying is that they accept a phylogeny too, because you can't deny that cats, dogs, and bears look more alike than elephants and giraffes if you go to those outgroups. So basically, their phylogeny is that God created these kinds to be alike, that some kinds are going to be more alike than others, like primates and humans, for instance. Why did he do that? But he did. Obviously, they have to accept that he did that he did make chimps have some things in common with humans. And so they kind of have a theory of phylogeny themselves, except their theory of phylogeny is God did it that way because of how we design cars, right? Like General Motors
common designer argument.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
They have a built-in idea of what they envision is the truth. That there are certain foundational constructs that you can't get away from. That there is a God. He sent, like if you're Christian, you could say there is a God. He sent his only begotten Son, who is the Trinity, who is is God. God is omnipotent. God created everything. Like those are foundational facts. And then they have to say, okay, now I have to have a worldview that fits in certain facts with those foundational facts. And let's say at the time, science is like, this is what we see. You're like, okay, given what they're saying, I'm saying this is how God created the universe, and it comports with science and whatever, and then you could be like 20 years later, we're like, oh, we found out about quantum mechanics. You're like, oh, no problem. I'm changed my views a little bit to incorporate science. Like it's always a goalpost moving activity. I have an idea that I'm trying to frame up. Science tells me something. I go, okay, great. This is how I explain that. and get more information, it's like, great, no problem. That's how I explain it. But I'm always explaining it with an outcome that I know what I want.
Okay, but here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Okay, that is a hypothesis that God did it that way, that God created phylogenies. That is a hypothesis that they have to provide evidence for. What is their evidence? They're always asking us for our evidence about how cats, bears, and dogs evolved.
And this is
thing, right.
And this
are
is
you getting my point here?
I get your point. Here's the thing, though, and this is why I think that if you're talking to a creationist, first what you need to do is watch and read a lot of creationist material to see how they think and why it is that they think in that particular way. Because in the talks that I've had on my channel, what becomes obvious is, and this is a thing that I take really serious, they are emotionally invested in their religion. The moment that falls away, they don't even have their own identity anymore. They have to figure out who they are, and what they're doing on this planet. And I talked to someone who struggled with that a lot, still became an atheist, but still struggled with that a lot, because it's all across the board, because you're going to lose your family, you're going to lose your friends, you're going to lose everything you can fall back on. And then you come into an existential crisis. So it's obvious that they're going to avoid that at all costs. And this is why if I see this, let's see, for instance, let's take Rebecca. Rebecca is a really nice person to talk to. He seems 100% sincere to me. I'm pretty sure that she would have an existential crisis if what she believes turns out not to be true. And that is not something that we should laugh about, or we should call them creotards or whatever. That's a thing that I hate. I wouldn't even use that word for Kent Hovind. I'm sorry.
Okay, but if you know how they think, Peter, answer this question for me. Why do they not? Why do they feel that they don't have to have any evidence for their hypothesis, but they insist that I have evidence for mine?
They have evidence. They have evidence. The Bible is their evidence. Someone was there. The witness was there, wrote everything down. So you can look it up in the Bible. That is their evidence.
Okay.
No, it doesn't.
Your take, Jason?
Okay, here's my take. My take is that all of the universe and the world functions according to natural laws. Everything functions that way. However, when it comes to these issues of like the creation of the universe and the things of which God touches his hand upon, and so chooses to do so, there are some things that are hidden from us. And so you want to be like, where's the evidence of God? There's evidence of everything around us. And you're like, what's the evidence of God? He chooses not to necessarily provide this specific type of evidence. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not doing that. It's just he's not providing that evidence. I don't know.
So why can't I just say that?
But he is providing that evidence.
Let's Speed give a response. I want to hear what Speed's.
Okay, so, why can't I just say that I have all these evolution books and that's my evidence? People were there, they wrote it down, and that's the way it is, and that's what I believe. And I don't need to give you evidence, basically.
But God is giving evidence. That's the thing that I want to point out. Because according to a lot of Christians, God still performs miracles today. You can go look, whether it's someone being cured from cancer. We know cancer can go into remission, but if a lot of people have prayed for that particular person, obviously God's going to get the glory. He did a miracle, and he cured that particular person. So they get their evidence, but it's the Texas sharpshooter fallacy that they're applying to get their evidence.
Well, I've got evidence.
Everything that is positive is evidence for God, whereas everything that is negative is discarded.
I just don't understand how they can think this way. I don't know. But
I don't either, but I spent an awful lot of time trying to figure it out, trying to at least accept that there is a disconnect when it comes to in how people think and what they think can be labeled as evidence.
Yeah.
And that is the problem. And so if you're going to talk to a creationist, that is the barrier you need to break.
You know, some people's belief systems are not solely attached to evidentiary claims.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Well,
so some people are like, they may feel they justified in saying that some things which make up my belief system are not just what I can read on a piece of paper or what science can deduce. Some things science can't deduce. And of those things, that has an influence of like what the decisions that I make. And there is some truth to those things. You know, like like science doesn't know everything. And when somebody's like, science doesn't know everything, and I think that there's a greater facet to that can explain that, I think I have a better idea about that, I'm going to make some decisions based on my feelings and views around that topic that's outside of science. It's not a scientific decision.
And there's another big elephant.
There are, just making a point, like there are threads of valid thinking in that. I'm not saying that you can come to a valid conclusion on that entire structure of ideas, but there are shreds of truth to some of those things. So anyways, go ahead.
And there's another gigantic elephant in the room. And so this is purely my opinion. People who grow up in a young earth creationist environment, when someone passes away, they don't grieve the same way that we grieve because they're going to see that particular individual when they get to heaven. So that is something that they hang on to. At some point, it goes even further. If you have a disagreement with someone, that particular person passes away, you still have the chance to make up in heaven. You don't have to think about that. Now someone comes along and tells you heaven is bogus. You're not going to see your dead relatives again. That's a terrific emotional impact on your life. If from childhood you knew that you were going to meet your dead grandpa or grandma again, and that is how you lived your entire life, knowing that one day you will see them again. And then that turns out not to be true. That has to be devastating. If you lived your entire life knowing that that was the case, and then suddenly being proof that that's no longer going to happen.
But you're dead.
But it doesn't matter. I talked to a guy in Australia, and it took a really long time.
How would it feel if like that happened? You know, I'm like, yeah, but you'd be dead then. It wouldn't even matter. You know, like it's about like what you think will happen.
But the opposite is there as well. The whole thing, hell. The guy from Australia emailed me after watching some of our shows, and he said, I'm 50 years old, and I'm still terrified of hell. I've become an atheist. What if I'm wrong? That I'm going to hell. And that is something that at some time, he had nightmares about that. He's 50 years old. He's been an atheist for close to 30 years. And he's still struggling with that.
Let me give you another take on that. Okay, as an 8-year-old, when I was going to that Presbyterian church with my mom, the thing that terrified me the most is not that I was going to see my aunties and uncles again, but that they were fucking watching me and that they were going to watch everything I did until I died. Okay, that terrified me. I mean, yeah, okay, I want to go see Auntie Jay again, but I don't want to go see Auntie J and have her list all the fucking things that I did between now and then, right? It's like I really don't want to see Auntie J again if that's going to happen. So I mean that's terrifying too. So I don't know. I prefer dead is dead. You know?
That'll keep you from masturbating if you know that your auntie's looking
and
over.
it did. It fucking did. I had a real problem as an 8-year-old. I mean, this was my big problem when I went. Yeah, that I didn't want to say that out loud, Peter, but that was like the thing that was like most pressing in my fucking mind. I mean, I couldn't.
And here's the thing:
turn the lights out. My aunties were still watching me. Wow.
And here's the thing: so maybe it's not just your relatives. Let's step away from your relatives watching.
Aunties.
If you're an adult and if you get married, so everything's okay, and then you're going to have sex with your wife, and you know that there's Jesus character is watching you. That to me would not be good.
What if your first
I don't
wife
think I could
dies?
perform.
What if your first wife dies and now you're with your second wife, right? And your first wife
she's watching. You're doing it wrong again.
There's all kinds of problems. I don't know.
She's up in heaven. She's up in heaven. That's not it.
Yeah. What the fuck? Anyway, Top Dog, you have something here?
Sharon, yep, she answered a question that I wrote on our chat a while back on a video a couple weeks ago, I guess.
Top Dog, what would be the difference in your life if you discovered your God was just a fictional character? Ooh, that would make a huge difference in my life. That would make, I don't know how I would deal with that. God is extremely important to me. I mean, he's really the source of my life. He's the source of my joy, and the source of love, source of so many things. And I just can't really imagine life without God, or God, if he turned out to be fictional, that would really be life-changing.
Okay, so what does that mean? That means that if she found out God was a fictional character, that she wouldn't have love for anybody anymore? Is that what she's saying?
I don't know.
It's a source of love, right? And it's a source of, and she wouldn't have any joy in life at all anymore. She wouldn't have any. So basically these Christians are saying they have no foundation without God. And they can't imagine a foundation for living without this fictional character.
What she said there is what I mentioned earlier. God was the source of her being.
Yeah.
She would lose her identity if her God turns out not to be real. That's a fucking scary thing to have over your head.
That's kind of like what the Buddhist master tells his student, basically, that when he loses himself, he will find himself, basically. That you need to give up this idea of this illusion of self, right? And the student is, basically against it because he's afraid he's going to lose his identity. But then when he gives up, he finds out that he now has a greater identity. It's now more encompassing. These Christians need a little bit of Zen, is what they need. They need a little faith. They don't have any faith without this fictitious being telling them what to do. They have no faith. I mean, it's just amazing.
If I can spam a little bit, I'm really looking forward. So I'm currently setting up a conversation with Rebecca. I think. Well, hold on. She proposed the 15th, December 15th. I think that's a good date for me, so I'm probably going to accept that. She's also going to be on Jackson Wheat's channel talking to Jackson about evolution, because I told her that I'm not an evolutionary biologist. You can ask me questions, and I've got some rudimentary ideas about it, but I'm not a professional. If you have specific questions, you need someone who's capable of answering those. And so I shot Jackson a DM, And Jackson's thrilled to have her on our channel, on his channel. So that's going to happen as well. And for that, no, we haven't hammered out a date yet.
Okay, and that reminds me, Dr. Dan is having a debate with Snowflower or
Sunflower.
Sunflower.
With Sunflower? Oh,
Yes.
my God, seriously?
Yeah. On Dapper Dennis channel.
Oh my God!
Oh, sad.
Sunflower.
Sunflake. Yeah.
Oh, Jason, you know him as well, right?
Yeah, I know Sunflower, and I know.
Yeah.
And what are we talking about? Dr. Dan?
Dr. Dan.
Dr.
That's
Dan.
what I heard a rumor. It's just a rumor. I got to confirm it.
Here, I'm going
so
to share
sad.
my screen.
All right.
That reminds me of the time when Jackson Weed and I had on Raw talk to Mr. ID. It's probably going to be something like that.
Okay, so it would be an upcoming live stream.
Yeah, that's it.
Sunflower and Dr. Dan in 27 hours.
Oh, he's got a trailer.
God.
He's got a trailer.
I thought it was at 11 tomorrow. Apparently, it looks like it's going to be at 8 p.m. Central tomorrow.
He has a trailer. I think.
He does have a trailer. If you've got it up and playing, mine's already played. But yeah, he does.
Oh my God!
Pretty dramatic. That's it.
Yeah. This is things that keep bugging me. Creationists tell us that dinosaurs are fire-breathing dragons. Do not do something like that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
God damn it.
Yep, god damn it.
Well, this whole thing, Rebecca was talking about, like, he's the source of my love and my strength and this and that and the other. But if you suddenly find out that your God is just a storybook character, well, then all this faith and love and stuff that you have had must have been coming from a different source, because you still had that love and joy and strength and whatever all that time before.
Sadly, Scott, that's not how it's going to go down, because what they will think is all of that was fake. Couldn't have happened. 9 out of 10 will see it like that.
See that the love that they had for people was fake. That's what they'll think.
The love that people had for them was fake. Everything is fake. As I said, you're.
What do you need a God to make love for you? God, I put that wrong. What do you need a God to be loved or to love somebody? What in the fuck? What is it about? Why would you think that?
God is the source of love. God gives you that feeling to have for other people. If that falls away, then you can no longer have that feeling for other people. That is how some have described it to me.
So you would kill your children, basically, if
I've literally had a young Earth creationist tell me that if God didn't exist, they wouldn't care about anything anymore, including their children.
Like, I think about it like this: like, if there's always situations of things that are out of your control, and that you have to be able to place your faith in a higher power of the things that are out of your control. That's the way it's always, life has always been like this, that there are lots of things that, like, we just don't have control of those things. And you have to be like that being or entity
safety net
or energy or power that's control of that. I pray to you to help me with those things. But over time, we're like, the unknowns are just unknowns, and that praying to them don't have it. But we still have those facets that are built in our society. I have a feeling that they will never go away. There will always be people that say those unknown things. I will pray to those things.
That's a good way of describing it. It is also their safety net. that falls away.
Well,
and now you have to face life all on your own. Your safety net's gone.
Well, that's kind of what all of us do anyway. We all do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all stuck with that.
We at least know that there is no safety net. If you fuck up, you land on your face. Yeah. And then you have to get back up again and start walking again.
Well, they kind of know.
If you have a safety net, you at least don't fall as hard. And there's someone there who's going to pick you up and going to help you start walking again. It's a lot of things.
It's more like you think it is a safety net, but then you don't prepare your body to land properly. So then you take more injury when you do.
It's a lot more complicated than you would think. There's a lot more things that weigh into, and this is more the case with young Earth creationists, people who take the Bible literally.
Maynard Saves is addressing the fact that those parents got charged with manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. Is that what he's talking about? Scott? Okay. The school shooting in Michigan.
Yeah.
Parents were just charged with involuntary manslaughter because they had like 15 warnings. They bought, and the tweets that they did and the stuff that in fact, I think they were at the school with their son on that morning, and they chose not to take him out of school, even though they requested that they take him away because the kid had drawn pictures saying something about, basically with guns and bloody bodies. And that. Yeah. And man, I mean, these parents, they really deserve to be charged for this. And then they called and said, he's I think they didn't search his backpack, and he had the gun in the backpack.
Whose gun was it?
Huh?
Whose gun was it?
The father bought the gun 4 days before with his son. His son was there, and his son tweeted out about the gun. Something about, how awesome it was. And it was just, and then the mother tweeted a message or sent a message to her son, texted him and said, "Don't do it." So it was like she knew. And it's like, what in the fuck is wrong? I thought when I first heard that they'd been charged, I thought, okay, that's a pretty weak case because they're basically charging them for an unattended gun. But with all the shit that they tweeted back and forth and talked about, these parents I don't understand these parents. I really don't. I mean, it's like they had a lot of warning signs, and so did the school. The school contacted the parents on at least 2 different occasions, telling them that they were concerned about what their son was writing and drawing. So, wow, just fucked up. And he goes and kills 3 people or 4 people now, I think. Yeah, I think there's 4 deaths.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, pretty nuts.
To go along with that story, I don't know if you heard the sirens. Our neighbor's barn is on fire, so there could be more sirens. Just saying.
What's that?
Just look. Oh, my neighbor's barn's on fire.
That's not good.
Usually, if I hear sirens, I think they're in my neighborhood.
It's far enough. It's far enough away, but the fire engine just went past my house, and I looked outside to see what the fuck is happening because they usually don't get here because there's nothing here. But
does that happen a lot, Peter?
No, that's why I was wondering what the sirens were.
Wow. Yeah, when I was a little boy. We could see a farm like 240s away. There was this huge barn that this guy had built, and it was a really odd barn. And I looked up and I saw flames shooting out of it, and I screamed for my brothers and sisters, and we all drove over there and helped fight the fire. But it was the most. I mean, it was like a frightening looking thing because this barn was like 40 feet high. And there were flames just shooting out of it like a dragon. It was amazing. That does not happen every day.
I'm just laughing at the comment you put up. It's not the Luftwaffe. I'm pretty sure it's not. They don't have sirens on planes.
Yeah. Anyway. What else?
I thought you were going to play a video of the man with the mouse problem.
Mouse problem.
Yeah, mousy voice. Remember him?
That guy?
With the mousy house?
Didn't you?
Mousy house.
Yeah, mousy voice and a mousy house. And a ladder.
Mousy in the house. He had a mousy in the house. There were just a few things here like this one.
So when Jesus
but that's
said,
what you think happened by chance. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when Jesus said, consider the lilies of the valley, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet I tell you, Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed as one of these. Those plant cells need the topoisomerase enzyme just like the humans need it.
Okay. That was quite a segue.
Yeah.
Went from Solomon.
It started off terrible already. Do you think that happened by chance? That's one of my pet peeves.
To topoisomerase. And that kind of proves what you guys were talking about before, that they get their knowledge from the Bible. So anyway, so seeing the lilies in the valley is basically leads you to.
Yeah, apparently there's a gospel of two whatever the word is. Topoisomerase.
Yep. Yeah, he mentions that a couple of times. There's an interesting thing. This one always just amazes me.
Pattern. And I've confronted the evolutionists and I'll say, okay, so you could say that within the same kind of protein, there could be common descent, but between different protein classes, there's not. Because on the right here, we have a zinc finger protein, and you could see it definitely has a different pattern than the collagen. And I say, does that have common ancestor protein? And they'll say, yeah, no, there's no such thing. And I'll say, that's exactly the problem. So right there, you're having a problem with common ancestry at the protein level. That's another story.
Because that would have to be a completely separate line of evolution, and that it's already incredibly improbable that it would have come about once. But now you've got to get it, like you have more and more separate lines that have to happen by chance, and that's just
by chance.
So this kind of
So it doesn't happen by chance.
So Cell thinks that these two proteins, collagen and topoisomerase, should have had a common ancestor if evolution is true. That all proteins had a common ancestor. And that indicates so many things wrong with that from the aspect of molecular biology that I can't wrap my head around. And he keeps bringing this up over and over again because he asked that question the first time on Saturday Night at the Atheist on this channel.
It's like he's trying to coat the old if evolution is if we evolved from apes, why are there still apes? It's like he's trying to like take that fillet and batter it in all these molecule names or something. It's just weird.
Well, the only way for that to happen is if the first cell, the protocell, whatever, had one protein in it, and that protein in that cell then evolved into all the other proteins. And that isn't quite the way it happened. There were millions and millions of different proto-protein candidates and motifs and domains basically scattered among billions and trillions of prokaryotic or very pre-prokaryotic, prokaryotes. So it didn't happen that way, and it didn't have to happen that way. And he can't wrap his mind around basically what protein evolution would have been. So protein evolution starts out with many, many small peptides and then medium-sized peptides, and and on and on. And they combine and they duplicate and they modify, and they did not have to come from one protein. And he doesn't seem to get that. And that shows a fundamental flaw in the way he thinks. And I'm not sure how much anybody thinks about this that's not into molecular biology. But I mean, when you think about it, did you guys think that all proteins evolved from one protein?
No.
It's a chemical compound. How can it even have ancestors?
Well, it does, actually. Proteins have families and they have genealogies. And protein families.
That I didn't know.
Okay.
My apologies for saying something incredibly stupid.
Okay, they're highly related. Like a lot of proteins, like these zinc finger proteins, have some relationship, but they have families. You can trace families. There's a big database called Protein Family, or PFAM, and it's got like.
How do you define? How do you define families in that? Do they reproduce, or are they being reproduced?
Kind of. Yeah, they duplicate, and occasionally they do other things, like one will break off and combine with another one. That can happen. They can duplicate. Things can be deleted from them. Things can be added to the middle of them. They're just, so there are protein families, but not all protein families came from a common ancestor. That's not how it happened. Okay, these families started out as multiple families, just like prokaryotes undoubtedly started out from multiple different sources. There was no one universal pre-protocell that created all of life. Very unlikely. It happened more in parallel. There were many, many sources that came together. But anyway, yeah, there are protein families, and we can see the genealogy between them, and we can even come up with phylogenetic trees for them. In fact, that's how they do phylogeny now. That's how you do molecular phylogeny. Is you look at these proteins, and you go back and you find homologs for those proteins, and you can figure out where they duplicated and where they split and all sorts of things. But I don't understand why Cell doesn't understand that, because he claims to be a protein expert, and it just doesn't make any sense. So I have other bookmarks here, but I'm still working on this video, so it isn't something I'm ready to talk about. But anyway, you see that little figure on the right? That's a zinc finger protein. It's got every row is a separate zinc finger, basically. It's more like a zinc hand, because you describe it with by folding your hand and your knuckles attached to the DNA. And anyway, but we'll get into that later. I went through it with Scott.
I have one quick question. How about 007?
I'm not so sure about that one. I haven't heard of that.
I enjoyed the movie. It was really good. The intro was great.
Does he have a Goldfinger protein?
I do not see a Goldfinger protein.
Anyway, it's a mystery to me why Cell keeps bringing that one up, because people have tried to talk to him about it, and he doesn't seem to get it. So
yeah, it's like he gets into this metaphysical fog, and he goes in there and studies topoisomerase, and then suddenly he's quoting scriptures. It's just a weird reaction.
I know.
Not a science brain at all.
Very strange. Very strange. Collagen.
I mean, if you get into what a creationist is, things are getting very strange. Otangelo recently posted on his Facebook page that so there's this cloned number of trees somewhere in the U.S. that is dying out, and he had a post about that. That particular clone tree, that group of trees, is estimated to be anywhere between 15 and 80,000 year old.
Where's that at?
Is that the one that's held together by a network of fungus underground? They communicate.
It's similar. So the roots are interconnected. So every tree comes from the same network of roots.
Okay, where was that at again?
You want to know everything. You always want evidence and stuff like that.
Is that the one in? Is that the aspen trees? I think in
the aspen trees, exactly.
I think so, yeah. I saw that on a YouTube video not too long ago, but it would be nice to have like a hour-long documentary on that.
It is the world's largest organism, according to Forbes.com. It's called Pando. It's in the Fish Lake National Park.
Fish Lake National Park? Are you?
Yeah. It's a grove of 47,000 aspens, all originating from the same single male parent aspen, and they're interconnected through their root system.
The trembling giant. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's Utah.
Imagine that organism. That must have been a wild experience when God suddenly created heaven and earth around it 6,000 years ago.
Okay, Pando means I spread, and that's what it's named for, and spread it does. The grove is actually a single colony of a male quaking aspen. Simply put, it is essentially one massive root system that began life an estimated 80,000 years ago. And you say
that age is still disputed. It's not that they figured out the exact age. It's estimated between 15,000 and 80,000 years, because there's no way of figuring it out exactly. There are other instances where they found fossilized leaves and they could date those, and that's how they dated those colonies. For this one, there's not 100% certainty about how old it exactly is. I looked it up when I saw it.
Look how pretty it is.
It is.
That's awesome.
It is.
Yep.
But apparently it's slowly being eaten. So all the new trees that come up are being eaten by the animals, and that's how it's dying out.
We have to kill the animals before they eat the oldest organism on Earth. So problematic.
We should crucify God again for making animals that eat the oldest organism.
Yep. I'll go ahead and put that in the description for anybody that cares to look at that.
Didn't Odin have himself crucified in the tree?
That we need to crucify God again? Don't put that in the description.
I put it in the description, Peter. You said it, so I put it there. I copied all
the god Odin had himself crucified in a tree in order to gain knowledge and wisdom.
Yep. Okay, boys and girls. Should we shoot her in the head?
And that's how we got tree houses.
Yeah.
Not a well-known fact. You get wisdom if you live in a tree house.
Should we quit while we're ahead?
Fine with me. I have nothing else.
Yeah, we got
contribute.
I just want you and Jason to work whatever is going on out, because I'm tired of having to FedEx boxes of tissue to speed.
I know. Okay, we're going to work that out backstage as soon as
all right.
As soon as I go on live. So,
work it out. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to shoot her in the head here, guys. Oh,
stay curious.
I really need to prepare for my weather reports before I have them.
That gives Grurmania time to take his monthly shower before he starts another stream.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, boys and girls. Goodbye, cruel world.